What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Throtl YouTube channel. As you can see, I'm in the car, as I've been a lot lately, running around picking up parts and doing things for the Throtl 240SX giveaway car that need to get done so that we can knock this thing out. This morning, I'm heading over to SOS Customz in Oceanside, California to check on our paint and body work that's being done. These guys are really good. I just want to go in and basically go over everything with them. We're filling some holes on the body for some of the body kit that used to be on there, and also some other things that were no longer needed on the car. So we want to smooth those out. And there's also some things where the fender meets the hood that I don't particularly like, so I want to go ahead and work with SOS and their bodymen and make sure that all that stuff gets sorted out before the color gets laid down on this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in here, talk with Oscar here at SOS really quick, and then we're gonna go take a look at the car. I'll bring you guys along with me and show you guys what I'm talking about. Alright, so I got back into the body shop and these guys have already started cranking. You can see they've already filled our corner lights in the rear. They've filled all the old stock wing holes, the third brake light hole, this side. Good thing I told them to fill that. They did. All of the old holes that Calvin drilled for his old over fenders are now all filled with welds and re-ground down. Next move, they're going to start test fitting the kit and drilling the bigger holes for the well nuts. One of the things I didn't show you guys was when I put this together, the gapping on the stock hood, or the carbon fiber hood to the stock body, was actually a pretty good gap. But for whatever reason, all of these Rocket Bunny kits, the gap at the hood to the bumper is always really bad. I looked at a lot of photos online, and almost every one I looked at has the same problem. So you've got this nice gap here, and you got this bigger gap running across the front. And this is a very visual part of the car. So I want to make sure that Oscar and the boys here at SOS saw that. So that was one of my main purposes for stopping by today. So they're going to go ahead and fill these in a little bit, refiberglass that, and close down that gap quite a bit, and that should tighten up the front end a lot. One of the other areas of concern on this for me was where all of this stuff comes together in the front. You can see this is our front bumper here, this is our over fender here, and they just kind of overlap each other. If you leave this, you can see the bumper behind the over fender, which is pretty crazy. So obviously your first thought is, well, we'll just cut this off. Well, the problem with just cutting that off is your fender mount to your bumper mount is actually right here. So if you cut this off right here, so it's not visible anymore, you at that point lose the ability to mount the front bumper to the fender in the wheel well. So what we're gonna have to do is cut this off, put a fastener inside behind the over fender, and we're gonna trim all that out. And then basically we'll make a tab that comes off the steel fender out to the over fender to secure this, because as you can see, it's pretty wobbly without any bracketry. We're probably also gonna have to build a bracket that goes off the frame down to the front of the front lip, and that should help keep this thing from being too shaky when we get up to freeway speeds and stuff like that. That said, the guys here at SOS are on the job, and they agreed with me on those modifications, and that it would be fairly simple for something for them to do before they finish up the body prep before primer. So we'll go ahead and check back in next week with these guys here, see how far along they've gotten. So I'm gonna go ahead and head back down to the hunt quarters. We've got a lot of work to do today still. Alright, just arrived back at the hunt quarters. Brought my trophy from the AMG Driving Academy this weekend. TJ and I were on the fastest autocross team. We won these cool little cones. So I'm gonna put this on display in the office. And I see the Beckerman boys are here. We got Ev's E46 and Rick's awesome Porsche. This is one of his other orange Porsches. One of the cool things about this car is the intercooler out the back. I love the way it turned out. I painted it all black so that it hid in there a little bit, and also painted the black surround on the trunk. Such a cool setup. So it's a narrow body turbo Porsche. Not too many of those out there.
Hey.
Oh, hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Karma. Woohoo! I brought my trophy from the AMG Driving Academy.
Hey,
First place team autocross winner. All right, so I'm out here in the shop and I decided it was time to revisit Evan's block cleaning job. He did a great job power washing this thing, but there were some small areas that didn't come out so good. Not because he didn't try, just because they were kind of hidden and whatnot, and I just wanted to get in here a little deeper. So I went ahead and hosed it down. I removed the engine mount bracket that goes basically here. I've taped off our Tomei oil block adapter, and I also removed the intake manifold bracket that mounts there. This area had a lot of oil buildup in it. As you can see, it's already starting to come clean. I did use this Citrus Power Cleaner Plus, which we use around the shop all the time. This is from Meguiar's, and this is their like pro squirt bottle, but they also have this, I believe, in standard squirt bottles as well that you can pick up at any auto parts store or on Amazon. And if you are interested in that, you can click our Amazon link down in the description and save some money off of that. This stuff is awesome. You can see it's already turning the aluminum pretty much like new underneath here, which is awesome. I've really only agitated it a little bit with a wire brush. And as far as tools, that is what I'm using, just 2 wire brushes. I have a large one there and a small one here. And I'm just getting in here and where the power washer wasn't able to get to, and sort of scrubbing this filth out of here. Really, at the end of the day, none of this is going to be visible once all these brackets and everything go back on the car. But the boys and I just want to know that we did our due diligence, and going to give the owner something that we would be proud to have. So I'm going to spend a bit of time and clean this up a little more, get this area cleaned up. Once this is cleaned up, I'm going to move on to the blast cabinet. We will be sandblasting the upper intake manifold, lower intake manifold, and a few of the other parts that go on this side of the engine. Once we get those cleaned up, we'll go ahead and start installing them. I'm not going to paint them. One thing I've found over the last few months of redoing a lot of these motors and stuff, it's super easy to just blow these off with a power washer and then get your rattle can out and spray them silver, and that's cool, it looks great. But the minute you get an oil leak and you go to clean it up with some brake parts cleaner or acetone or something to get it off, you remove the paint as well, and then you're right back to looking like crap again. I'm gonna keep scrubbing. All right, block's looking all nice and clean back there. Got the brackets back on that we took off to do cleaning behind. And now I'm gonna focus my attention on the valve cover, which we are going to retain. We were gonna get a new one, but the consensus around here is they like the shaved look. So we're gonna go ahead and use this one. I'm gonna pop it off and cover up the valve train. We do have some parts that need to go inside underneath this, so we can install those while we're at it. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up and ready to be painted. Not sure what color yet. Maybe you guys have an opinion. Let's see what you think in the comment section. What color should we paint this valve cover for our project car? I kind of have an idea, but I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing off. Alright, so the valve cover is off. Now's a good time to do a nice little visual inspection of the valve train up here. See if anything stands out to you as odd or potentially something wrong. This motor looks pretty good. It's actually nice and honey brown in here. Being a used motor from Japan, you never really know what you're gonna get. But this motor from JDM of California, actually all the motors from JDM of California that we've ever gotten have all been very, very tidy inside. So they must be getting the low mileage engines is my guess. Not sure. Anyway, kudos to them for always getting us the hot engines. Anyway, so if you've ever done cams or rocker arm stoppers before, you know that the torque specs and the way that you bolt them down is pretty critical. So essentially, you want to follow the factory service manual recommendations. If you want to do these rocker stoppers yourself, there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do it. This isn't going to be a how-to video. This is going to be me putting in rocker stoppers on our SR20DET, which is a common modification. You basically do it so that if you over-rev the engine or have valve float or those sorts of things, it'll cut down on the potential for damage in the head and the valve train. So we're going to go ahead and install those now. Again, if you're going to do this, make sure you look up the factory service manual online and get the torque specs and the torque order. There is also an order to remove as well. So make sure you take a good look at that before you start to tackle this job. All right, so I've got the first rocker arm stopper installed. And as you can see here, it goes right in line under our oil tube and uses the cam placements or cam holders to hold it in place. As you can see, it's just an arm that reaches down, rocker arm stopper, and basically doesn't allow the arm of the rocker to overextend itself. So it's basically stopping the rocker arm. Brilliant name they have. So I know this is going to be a problem. I've watched some other people install these, and essentially where the rocker arm stopper sits right here, you can see it's going to be a problem with these ears that stick down. So this has to come off completely. When we pull these bolts out, I'll pop this off, move the oil tube out of the way, and I'll lop these ears off. That way the rocker arm stopper can go underneath it. This is to prevent blow-by on the engine, so it's basically just a shield to keep the oil down. I've also been told that there may be some trimming that needs to be done inside the valve cover. Looks like ours does not need to have it done. The S15 valve covers have a little bit of a more substantial blow-by block-off plate inside the valve cover. So our S13 red top does not have that, so that's good. One less thing we have to cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the other side off, get this one installed, and get that tray cut back so that it fits, and knock this out. All right, so as you can see here, maybe if it'll focus, I've marked it to where it needs to be cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and just come over here to the grinder and cutter and grinder and knock this stuff off. All right, so I went ahead and cut those ears off. Now we have a nice flat part. So I'll go ahead and just run this through the wire real quick, clean it up with some water so there's no metal particles or shavings that are going to go back into our engine, and we can reinstall this thing. All right, there we have it, nice and flat. We'll go ahead and rinse this thing down, rinse it down with some cleaner or some water, and go ahead and reinstall it. All right, fast forward about 10 or 15 minutes. Got the rocker arm stoppers installed. As you can see, all the shiny bits in here are basically those. This is our basically like a windage tray or oil scatter tray. We did modify that, as you can see here, so that the rocker stopper can fit underneath it. We've got our oil squirters back in place. This side's in place, and we've got the brace that comes with the kit in place as well. So now we'll go ahead and cover this bad boy up, because we're gonna do some work on the valve cover, and that's not gonna go back on just yet. So put this over just to keep any debris from falling into our engine. All right, guys, well, that's gonna cap off today's festivities. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks for subscribing, all the comments and the likes. We appreciate it all. Peace out.